no Jedi.
Your powers are weak, old man.
Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
Hello there.
General Kenobi! You don't know the power of the dark side.
And welcome back to Disciples of the Force. It's your host, Spencer, and my good pal, my good buddy, Austin, as always, is here with me. Hey, thanks for just listening. If you've been a dedicated listener, I just want to give you a quick thank you, okay? Our numbers are growing, small, but they're growing, and we appreciate you guys. But to start off this week, let's go with a little bit of Star Wars news. Austin, you got something for me?
Yeah, I do. Just a disclaimer, I'm very sick right now, so if my voice sounds funny or if I'm in your ears or in your car and I'm sniffling, I'm sorry.
I'm not. I like it.
Thank you. The only news I could really see is that there was an interview with Jon Favreau talking about how there is discussion about projects set after the Rise of Skywalker. So we should be looking forward to that. That's kind of interesting because there's a rumor, like a lot of people have been wondering why, with the popularity of The Mandalorian, how they're going to make it so that Din Djarin and Grogu and Ahsoka weren't present for the sequel trilogy. And there's a pretty popular fan theory out there that they're going to start writing about the new beyond, like a new galaxy that all these Mandalorian verse characters are going to be in during the time of the sequel trilogy. And a lot of people are really excited about that. Personally, I'm not, because it's like the galaxy is already so huge. Like, why don't we explore that? Why can't they be on the other side of the galaxy?
Yeah.
But yeah, people are really excited about another Star Wars galaxy. So kind of interesting.
So they're going two galaxies. So they're saying that this is all taking place while the sequels are going on.
Yeah. So,
but it's like total different galaxies that doesn't even touch each other. Kind of.
So the stuff that's happening right now is in the main Star Wars galaxy.
Okay.
But they're saying future stories, they'll be writing about them being in another galaxy.
Interesting. I think it'll be interesting, but
yeah.
I mean, again, the galaxy's literally infinite. Well, I guess not literally.
Not literally, but yeah.
Like, I mean, there's so much in this galaxy. I feel like, they, like you said, they could be like on the outer rim.
Right.
But then I can't remember. I think I saw something that the sequels, isn't that how the Empire started it? Or what do they call it?
The First Order?
The First Order. Isn't that how they started was in the, what's the word I just said?
The outer rim?
Yeah, the outer rim. That's what I thought I read.
I think you're probably right, yeah.
I think that's where they started after they had lost, and they kind of worked their way in.
That would make sense. And Star Wars is kind of always inconsistent with the outer rim. Like Tatooine is apparently like in a backwater outer rim. Nobody goes there, but it's the most visited planet in live action, so it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So,
well, I was going to tell you that picture. Did you say I sent the Hobby Lobby picture to you, and it had the map of Tatooine?
Oh yes, yeah, I did see that.
That was kind of cool. Like, I didn't realize like how many things take place on Tatooine.
Yeah,
like, when you see it all like on a map, you're like, oh wow, yeah,
everything.
That's crazy,
including part of the new Mandalorian episode. When I saw Tatooine again, I almost threw up. But we'll get into that.
All right, well, sweet. Any other news other than that?
No, I think that's it from what I saw.
Sweet. You want to go Bad Batch or
let's do Bad Batch first? Yeah.
Awesome. Possum, brother.
Okay.
I'll start it off. Let me get to my notesy wotsies.
While you're looking for that, I really, really liked this episode.
Yeah.
I think one of the better ones in this season. I think really dramatic, and we got to see Crosshair again and see kind of like a redemption arc for him. I don't think he'll be that quick to turn, but kind of seeing some more humanity from him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the part where he was like, he's dead weight, and he talked about that, and then how the guy's like, well, remind me not to die on your watch, and then of course, he does. I liked how that didn't like he totally just just in that episode, a lot of character development. I thought that was really cool. I did want to do something. I want to double check this real quick before I say it because I don't want to be wrong. You know me, always wrong.
You're never wrong, dude. Don't say that.
BB. Sorry, real quick. I'm about to look it up right here. Cool. Okay. So I think every episode would be cool because I look on the IMDB ratings for this. So this episode is the highest so far of the season.
Wow.
It was 9.2, The Outpost. Metamorphosis was 8.3, and the one before Retrieval was 6.6. So these last two have gotten a lot of...
What was Retrieval? That was the one where they're in the caves and stuff, right? Or no, that was...
That's right after that one.
Oh, okay.
As when they killed the giant goober gabber, whatever his name is, they throw him in the lava.
Oh, yes.
The gluttony
Temple
guy.
of Doom episode, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like that one very much.
Yeah, it was not received very well.
Yeah.
So the Outpost, 9.2, and I checked last time it was 9.1, so got that 0.1. Anyways, I do like how with the, how it's kind of that transition period going into Stormtroopers, clones and Stormtroopers. Like, you realize in the originals, they never take off their helmets, right? You never see it, but in the Clone Wars and everything, they always take off their helmet. And I liked how the beginning of this episode, he's like, "Why is your helmet off?"
Yeah,
he says that to Crosshair
or whatever. Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's a good point." Like, just something that, like, yeah, clearly that's a thing. But like, once he said it, I was like, it clicked in my brain. Like, oh yeah, that's crazy how they just, So this new Empire is a lot more strict. Of like, you can't do that, whereas before it was a lot relaxed. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, that's like a huge thing that George Lucas kind of wanted to make them this faceless, foe. And that's why they always kept their helmets on. And so taking that helmet off is really powerful in terms of this narrative. It humanizes people. So really good point. The commander guy or whatever his rank was, such a dick, dude.
Oh, such a weenie.
I hated him so much. And I was thinking this too, because at this point the Republic or the Empire is only like 2 or 3 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like how, and this is his first mission. I guess I thought of this before Mayday pointed out that it was this guy's first mission. But it's like, how are these Imperial officers already like outranking clones?
Yeah.
Like I would just like to see something about what they did during the Republic era. Because that guy probably had a job in the military during the Republic, to be in this rank. But something that probably doesn't matter at all, but something I thought about.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, because they just kind of get into these roles. We never see how they did, what made them earn it. Because especially this guy's never been on a mission, so it's like, how are you, outranking everyone? And I had his name written down. Let's see if I click it. Anyways, I totally agree. Lieutenant Nolan was his name. Yeah. Because I put equals big wiener vibe. No, I hated him. And I was so glad. The ending was very satisfying to me.
Yeah. I literally gasped.
Yeah.
Because, they were building up to it, but I was like, dang, that's hardcore. That's really cool.
Well, looking back at the last episodes, I just didn't think Crosshair would. He's been so, obedient to everything they're saying. And I also loved, I have it written here somewhere, good soldiers. I have it written down. Exactly. Oh, yeah. We were good soldiers. We followed orders. Yeah. And for what? And I was like, damn. That's the line directed at Crosshair, because it's like, you said that earlier, you follow orders, and then he's like, literally for what? Why are we doing it?
Yeah, it's a huge theme. People always make fun of, Clone Wars fans for loving the clones, they're just random and whatever. Mm. But this Mayday character is so cool.
Yes, very dope.
He just kind of stood up, and he outranked Nolan. At the beginning when Nolan walks in and he's like trooper, and Mayday's like, that's commander to you, Mm-hmm. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic that he stood up, didn't take any crap, but still tried to do his best.
Yeah.
And then paid the price. Just crazy.
Yeah, I didn't think he would die either. I thought he would live. I was hoping he would. He was dope. I really liked his character.
Also, they're their armor design with all the wrappings on it to stay warm. I think that's going to be a toy. That when I saw that, I was like, that's just really marketable, just a cool uniform.
I like to call them the Alaskan Raiders, huh?
The Alaskan Raiders. Okay, sure.
Because the little bandits, the Tusken Raiders got the advantage.
Right.
Come on, you like
that's
it.
Great.
Thank you.
That is great.
No, but yeah, for sure. Oh, that was the thing I was going to say. It's so funny how the clones are so much better then the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Like 2 people, Mayday and Crosshair, can go do this giant, crazy mission that he says, we need a bunch of men. He's like, I'm not giving it to you. And they can do it. And then looking at the originals, like you see how many stormtroopers die, like how, they're so inefficient. So it's like crazy to me that they're still pushed to, get all these clones to come. Right. Kick all the clones out and get all different types of people, which I just think it's interesting because they're just way more skilled and a lot less of them can do way more than a giant clan of them. So
I think it makes sense though, because it's like a better way of instilling fear upon the galaxy. Like if you're taking kids and training them from when they're young to be stormtroopers, like that's going to scare people a lot more than this clone force, that they've grown to like be attached to, and that people think the clones saved them from the traitor's Jedi, Just, I think, the TK, the stormtroopers are like the way better way for, at least for Sidious to like keep his grasp on the galaxy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, hey, dude, that's why I love this podcast. You always bring up points I don't think about.
Sure, man.
So I'm an idiot, is what you're telling me.
You're not. No, just a thought.
Anyway, the ending part. Oh my golly, what did they say to Crosshair? Because to me, it sounded like they were going to take him to Nalase.
The cloning lady.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember why I wrote it. But yes, right. When they're cloning him, and she's like, then the doctor's going to come too, which is has to be the doctor from that episode.
Dr. Hemlock or whatever his name is.
Yeah. So I think that's how they're going to reunite Crosshair with the Bad Batch, is going that way, because they're going to be looking for Omega.
Right.
He's coming back with Nalase, the doctor, and all them, and then one big family reunion. So we'll see. Because I think 3 more episodes in this season. I can look.
That's a great question. I can't remember.
It is.
I think it's 16 episodes, right?
1, 2, 3, 4 more episodes.
Okay. So yeah, that'll be great. Do you think they're going to use Crosshair to get to Omega? Like they're going to use him to hunt her, or do you think? Because that was my initial thought. I thought they were going to like make him go after her, and maybe that's where like his redemption arc will come full circle. Like he'll be on a mission to get them or get Omega, and they'll like convince him to come back.
Yeah, that would be. I think that's a definite possibility. I didn't even think of that. That they use him to hunt her to get Hunter.
Yeah.
What's up? Nice. But no, I think that is definitely a possibility of what they'll probably use him for. I didn't even think of that because I was No, I think that's it. I think you nailed it. You're right for them.
I mean, I wish. We could have written better sequels.
Dude, also a real quick side note. My buddy Anthony, he listens to this, doesn't know, knows a little bit about Star Wars. He's just a good friend and listens.
Sweet.
And he messages me, he goes, who the hell's Omega? What the hell's a Bad Batch? So I sent him this long text explaining it. And then I saw him in class the next day and he's like, yeah, so who's the Bad Batch? It's like, okay.
That's funny. Yeah, he makes a great point. This podcast might not be for everybody. If you're like a Star Wars fan, but you're not keeping up on the new series, then yeah, sorry. That's funny.
Sorry.
Last thing I want to say is I love how they're using Ralph McQuarrie's initial designs for the Stormtroopers as this Phase 1 Stormtrooper.
Phase going into it.
So cool. I love that.
I didn't know that was the his was the original Stormtrooper. And
I think so. Yeah.
That.
Let's see. Let me see if I can pull a picture up.
Yeah. As far as my stuff while you're pulling that up, I don't think I had anything else. Just really that line was the coolest thing for me. That episode was we were good soldiers and we followed orders for what was wow. But other than that, yeah. I mean, really, when you told me you had watched it and you loved it, I was like, well, I got to see this. And yeah, I mean, it looks like it's a fan favorite. It's the highest rated out of
that's crazy.
All of them so far. So
I'm trying to pull this thing up, dude. Jeez, I've not been good at searching.
We need a fancy bee.
We do. Okay, I'll share my screen.
Oh, jump over here.
Oh, tons of ads. Can you see that?
It's loading. It says No.
But this is. Can you see it actually?
No, it's still loading.
Frick. Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, but that's his original design, which is really cool.
That is cool. And yeah, because that's exactly what they're using right now. That's awesome.
All right. Okay.
Sweet. Anything else you had with that episode of The Bad Batch?
Let me see. Oh, no, nothing really. But I'm curious because at the end of last episode, it seemed like this episode was going to be The Bad Batch back with Echo and Rex.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that until like just a few minutes ago when we were talking about it. So it'll be interesting to see how all these things come together because it seems like Echo and Rex are going to be involved with The Bad Batch. And with Crosshair being in this new position where he might be pursuing them, it'll just be weird to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I think it'd be cool if it was like they get Omega and like they capture her and the rest of the Bad Batch, they kind of leave for dead, and then Hunter reaches out to Rex and Echo. It's like, hey, we need your help. And then maybe at that point, Crosshair is like, man, I did the wrong thing. I don't know. I think that's the beauty of anything. You have literally infinite possibilities of what you want to go with. So it'll be cool to watch.
It'll be way good. Okay, well, do you want to move on to The Mandalorian?
The Mandy? Yeah, let's go into Mando. What you got for me, brother?
Like I said, I don't know if it was the first scene or what, but when we panned down on Tatooine, I was like, oh my gosh, dude. I never want to see Tatooine in live action again. And the racing, like seeing those speeders on Tatooine, I was like, dude, they should have learned their lesson, like with how poorly those Book of Boba Fett, that biker gang was received. Never show me racing on Tatooine ever again. Seen it with the pod racing. We just saw riot racing and the Bad Batch. Don't want to see that. And luckily they didn't focus on it. But when that first showed up, I was like, dude, why are they doing this? I was like frustrated, but luckily it wasn't a big plot point. I was super annoyed with, the frick is her name?
Bo-Katan?
No, the lady that lives on Tatooine and fixes up Din's.
Oh, yeah.
Starts with a P, huh?
Yeah, actually, I think I have it written down. Let me check real quick. I'm pretty sure I wrote her name down. Because I think her name is... Oh, please let me have this. Peli Moto.
Peli, yeah. Dude, she said it was Boonta Eve like 15 times. I was like, dude, I wonder if it's Boonta Eve. She just kept saying it. But, I mean, that is cool that, like, the Boonta Eve Classic is when the pod racing took place.
Oh, really?
Phantom Menace.
Okay.
That was for Boonta Eve to celebrate that. So I think they were trying to, like, put that Easter egg in, but they just drove it home. Yeah. Like, I counted, she said it 5 or 6 times. I was like, dude, Peli, we get it. Shut the...
I got to work on Boonta Eve, so it's going to cost you extra. Jeez. Hurry up, it's Boonta Eve. Yeah, you're right. You did say that. While we're talking about her, my first question I had for you is, what do you think about Peli?
I do like her as a character. It's the kind of character where, like, I feel like I've kind of gotten into types of films that are kind of gritty and not fun at all. Mm-hmm. And so I like that. Like Andor, so great. And there weren't really like any comedic moments. Like if they tried to fit a Peli character in Andor, I would hate it.
Yeah, wouldn't work.
But this show, like, of course they capitalize on cuteness and like some campy fun. Mm-hmm. So I think she's like the perfect fit. And we get just enough of her where it's like she's fun and then we don't see her again. So I like her. What about you?
I don't hate her.
Sure.
I think usually when she comes on the screen, I just kind of go, oh, here we go. Yeah. I think it's not like I'm like, oh, she's the worst character ever. But I think, the character is designed to be over the top, you know,
right.
And she does it well. And I think you're right. I think it does do a nice little contrast to how serious the whole thing is, but it works. It's not like it doesn't take you out of it because you know that when you see her on screen, that's what's going to be happening. So, yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, I don't even know how other people see her. And the second thing I have here, so this one on IMDb got 8.9, which was higher than the first episode of the season. But keep in mind, the first episode had 10,000 reviews, like just on IMDb, so it's not like an official rating.
Right.
And this one only has 5,000. Okay. But it still was more liked, from what I can tell. I mean, it had left enough impression that people were able to rate it high.
Yeah, I mean, I liked this one, for sure, a lot more than the first. I was talking to my buddy, Randy, and I was like, dude, did you see the first episode? Like, it's better than I thought it would have been. And he's like, I just hate that they're still doing that thing where it's like, I have to go get the droid so I can do this other thing. Like the constant, like, oh, we need to go to this planet to get this thing, and this planet to get this thing, like the grocery shopping type storytelling. I was like, yeah, he's got a point. But I still liked the first episode. Yeah. But this episode was great because I really didn't expect them to jump into Mandalore so quickly.
Same. I thought it was going to be kind of like Andor, where they're on that planet for a long time before they actually do the heist.
Yeah.
And so I was really surprised when he went for that droid. I was like, oh, when they went for it.
Yeah, and I think that's the first time we've seen Mandalore in live action outside of like flashbacks, because we've seen like the Empire bombing Mandalore in the Book of Boba Fett briefly. But it was cool to see it in live action finally. And like the what's the city called? The capital city. Starts with an S. Anyway, it was cool to see that in live action.
Segwayville.
Segwayville. Oh, that is it. It is Segwayville. It was cool to see that, like how true Sundari, capital city Sundari. It was cool to see how true to the Clone Wars that design was. Like when they.
Yes, it was awesome. That was really cool. I thought it was really funny in the episode when Din Djarin is teaching Grogu how to read the map. And he's like, if Mandalorians didn't know how to read a map. And I was like, I think anybody in the galaxy needs to know how to read a map, but whatever. But I did like that part because, showing that he's trying to teach him in the ways of Mandalore. Right. And I think that's cool. It'll be interesting. We did see that. You sent me that TikTok the other day. That article you sent me.
Article. It was an article.
I still an Ellie about that. We say article instead of TikTok. But there's that Dave Filoni and
Jon Favreau.
Yeah. They were, when they mentioned that Din Djarin's not force sensitive, and then he gives a little facial reaction.
Like, whoa.
Yeah. So maybe that would be cool if he came out that Din Djarin was force sensitive. That'd be way crazy.
It would be cool, especially with this kind of arc that they're spinning, where it seems like he's going to be the chosen one that like brings together the tribes of Mandalore. Mm-hmm. Like it would make sense if he was like Tar Vizsla. What's his name?
The first
original Jedi Mandalore. Anyway,
something Vizsla.
That'd be cool if that came around and he was force sensitive. I don't think he needs to be for the narrative to work, but that would be an interesting thing.
It would be a way cool thing.
A couple of things that I wanted to go back to that I forgot that I noted about Tatooine. So Pelimoto says, "What are you here doing? Are you going to take out Boba Fett? Are the Hutts back?" Just thought that was interesting. Yeah, because like Boba Fett's still out there.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
they're coming back, baby.
And then R5, the original astromech droid from the first Star Wars movie that like broke down, and then that's why they had to go back and get R2.
Yeah, that was cool.
Did you see that thing about the non-canon comic where it says the R5 was force sensitive, which is I don't know how that works.
How would that work?
But like he intentionally blew his motivator so that R2 would go with Luke and serve the rebellion. So that's a thought. But I just really, I think it's cool that R5 has been kind of hanging around Pelimoto, but I hate that they put him with the Mandalorian. Because it's like, is he going to be his droid from now on? Like, it's just so fan servicey. It's like, I like when we see familiar characters in Star Wars, but I also think like the galaxy's so big. Like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Like I remember
it's the Force, man. It's in everything.
That's true.
Pulling it together.
I was reading this one thing about like people were mad when Revenge of the Sith came out and Chewbacca was on Kashyyyk when Order 66 happened, and he like helped Yoda
get away. Yeah,
people like hated that because they're like, the galaxy's so big. Like, what are the odds that Chewbacca is there with Yoda? So an interesting thought, but that's how I felt about R5. And she said he served in the rebellion, which I think was a straight up lie because there's no way he did. I mean, we would have seen it. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he did it. Like
you just said the galaxy's so big. How do you know he was?
That's true. I don't know. He served in the rebellion, then came back to Tatooine. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, I think you're right. Like, it would be such a fan service to put him always with him. Right. So I think it would make more sense just kind of a one. You're with him for right now.
Right.
And that's it.
Well, I was hoping when he went off and got lost. I was hoping he died. I was like, that's the end of his story. I hope he's done.
Well, dude, it is funny that scene that you say that. Shout out to our guy who duetted us on TikTok. How he talks about droids are slaves.
Oh yeah,
that was so like just didn't even care. He's like, oh, this droid, and then he's like, usually we make droids do this. Yeah, but I was so confused. I'm like, why did you have all this? Like, if you can go out there with your helmet and check, like, why did you go through all this effort to get a droid?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the droid was able to get the sample. Maybe he couldn't have done that.
Right.
But for the most part, it's like, you have a helmet. Like, I know you're doing it for Grogu, but it's like you went through all this effort to, get a robot to just get out and do it yourself. Seems silly to me.
Yeah. And you think like every ship in the Star Wars universe would have like air sensors like that, right?
Exactly, yeah. But like, that one is, hey, that's an older one, man.
That's true. I don't know. Yeah, that's a great point. When they're flying in, another note I have here, Din points to Concordia. And he's like, that's where I grew up.
Mm-hmm. On the moon.
Which is where Death Watch was. Yeah, on the moon of Mandalore. Okay. Death Watch was stationed there. That's where they were exiled to, was Concordia. So that, I mean, it was already confirmed because in the flashbacks when he's getting saved from the droids,
they have
they've got Death Watch patches, but he's a child of the Watch. So I'm just interested in like the timeline. Where did the child of the Watch stem from
the Death
Watch? Mm-hmm. And like, does he know about Death Watch? He would have had to.
Yeah.
But anyway, just kind of interesting that he grew up there and he mentioned that.
That would be an interesting thing to poke at, yeah, because I don't know timeline-wise when that would have all happened. But yeah, that would be very interesting.
Because like he would have been like a 10, 12-year-old kid when
the child of the Watch
got
him.
Well, yeah. Like he was probably like, I don't know how old the kids look, but when he got picked up and saved during the Clone Wars, like we see super battle droids attacking in that flashback, and he's like 6 or 8 or 10. I don't know. I'm not
14, 8,
18. I don't know. But then that means during the Siege of Mandalore, when like Maul was there and Ahsoka, like he would have had to know all that stuff was going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to kind of figure out more about that.
Hey, if you're a super fan bigger than us, get that timeline for me. Because I don't know. Yeah, that would be. I'm sure someone's got it somewhere. Right. Some nerds got it.
Well, that's the confusing thing too. Is we were pretty sure on the timeline for The Mandalorian, but then a couple weeks ago, I think maybe in that same interview that we were talking about, Dave Filoni mentioned how this is like several years after Luke got Grogu. Like he implied that Grogu was training with Luke for like years.
Yeah.
It's like, what time is this happening at? Anyway.
That's true, yeah.
Just a thought that probably doesn't matter that much.
They do allude to a lot of things that, like, you time-wise, you are wondering what's going on.
Yeah, and they kind of flip-flop, so, like, it'd be nice. Dave Filoni, if you're listening, I know you are.
Dave.
Fix the timeline for us. Tell us what's going on.
Well, let's jump into some cuteness of Grogu, huh? I love that guy. When Din Djarin gets captured by the robot and he hides by the rock, he's like a little dog. His ears kind of go back. It's really cute. But I was going to say with that robot alien thingamabob, reminded me a lot of Transformers while I was watching it. Yeah, I don't know why. It reminded me, do you remember in Transformers when the first little droid gets up? It's like the first Transformers, I think. And he's sneaking around the military base and he's like super small.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of because he split off and did it. So just reminded me of Transformers.
That's a good point. It made me think of Grievous. Just like some of his like coughing robot and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, that sounds like Grievous. And then it made me think of something else. Oh, I also thought it might be one of like those monks. You know, what are they called? The ones that live outside of Jabba's palace.
Jabba's palace monks. Is it like that? That's not the alien eye that comes through in Return of the Jedi, is it?
No, it's so you see it in Return of the Jedi as Luke walks in past that gate. There's like a little spider thing, and it's got like a little orange sack under it. So those are like Beelmore monks. Holy crap! And they apparently, this might be legends now, but their achieving enlightenment was to leave their physical bodies, and they would like implant their brains in these spider things. So at first sight, I thought like something like that, but it's not at all. There's no way.
But
just the spider, like the crab thing, made me think of that.
Okay, bud.
Have you been watching The Last of Us at all? No. So The Last of Us, do you know what it's about, though? More or less?
The funny thing is, I know it's Pedro Pascal, that girl, and they're like, is it a apocalyptic world or is it zombies? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's an post-apocalyptic.
I mispronounced it, so now I effed you up. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic story. The world's like falling apart. These spores, this fungus is like taking over people, and they're pretty much zombies, you know.
Okay.
But when Din and Grogu were underground, and like they're walking through like these wet tunnels of like debris, it reminded me a lot of The Last of Us, which is going on right now. Like you said, it's Pedro Pascal, same kind of story, like a father figure guiding this child that kind of got put upon him. But yeah, it reminded me a lot of The Last of Us, so kind of a cool parallel.
I was going to ask you, have they mentioned him being, his dad to Grogu? Like, I feel like this episode is when the first time I've noticed him call him, like, "Oh, your dad. Where's your dad? Oh, your kid." I don't know if I've ever noticed it before.
I think they might have said it before. I don't know.
Maybe.
But, that was one thing I hated when Bo-Katan is like, "Did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian?"
Yeah,
it's like, wait, that's so unnatural. Why did you just say that right then? Like, she just like killed a bunch of those like native monster things. She's like, "Did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian?" Like, what? No, he didn't.
You didn't think
he's seen other like he's seen you and your buddies. Like, he knows you. What the hell? You saved him from that monster thing in the ocean.
And why would she say that right after that? It's like such an unnatural time to say that.
Well, it's funny because they use that in every trailer. Like, they use that line in every trailer. Bo-Katan saying that. And like, it seemed like, oh, maybe there's a natural reason for her to say that.
Yeah.
But no. Just so weird. I did not like that at all.
That's funny.
I love Bo-Katan, though. She's awesome.
She's really awesome. I think the casting for live action is really good.
Yeah.
I really like her a lot.
Because you know the thing about Katie Sackhoff, why she's the actor?
I don't.
She was the voice in the Clone Wars.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah. So they just kept her on.
Well, that's why they cast it so well, because it's her.
Because it's literally her. It's crazy.
No, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What else? Oh, I thought it was really cool, the difference between seeing Din wield the Darksaber. Like, it's still like super heavy. Yeah. But when she gets it, she's like whipping it around and stuff. So she knows how to use it. Very cool.
Yeah. I was going to say, I have a question, but I guess I can get to that at the end. For some reason, I wrote at the end of this, reminded me of a Marvel movie, and I don't know what I meant by that. I wonder if the fighting, maybe just the camera work or something, maybe it reminded me. I need to be more specific, so I don't know. I wrote that, though. That's okay. Hey, if you hear this, Spencer, and you're listening again, figure out what the hell you meant, because I have no idea what you meant.
Perfect.
Anyways, but my question is, what do you think, we probably have to pull up a chart, but what do you think Grogu's midi-chlorian count is?
It's a great question.
Because, I guess not the exact number, but what do you think because he's pretty strong. I mean, he kicks the beast out super far, and we've seen it. Do you think he's within the top 10, or do you think he's going to be, basically, I guess my question is, do you think he's a prodigy crazy, or do you think he's just a normal Jedi, just when there's no Jedi around?
No, to answer your question, I think he is prodigy crazy, because think about it. We don't know what Yoda's species is. Okay. That's never been said in canon or anything. We don't know what his species is, but we know 3 of the members of the species: Yoda, Yaddle, and Grogu. And they're all Force users. They're all Force sensitive. They're all Jedi. So
that's true.
If we only know 3 members of the species and they're all Jedi, they all have a tendency to be Force sensitive, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even put that together there. Yeah, everything we've seen of that species is Jedi.
Yeah.
Or Force sensitive, at least.
Yeah. Never seen any of them outside of it that I know of. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think in canon there's no other member of that species that isn't Force sensitive.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I must be. But you think top 10? Or do you think maybe top 20?
Well, maybe. But Yaddle wasn't that powerful. She was really powerful and awesome. But in terms of highest midichlorian count, or even highest on the council, she wasn't. Yeah,
that's a good point. I think, and it's also hard when you get into those, because I guess if you say top 10, are you saying top 10 of what we've seen in films, or top 10 in canon, true canon of the comics and everything? But I would say, I guess in my opinion, I think within film canon, it's all canon, but from what we've seen in film, I think he's probably top 10 for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because who else would we? There's Anakin,
Mace, Windu.
Mace, Yoda. Probably Luke and Leia. Like, those are the only ones that could be over him, I think.
Yeah. You think Obi-Wan's last?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
What about Plo Koon?
I don't know, dude. Plo Koon's really powerful.
He's super powerful.
Yeah, I mean, this is all just speculation. Right. If I had to list it, Anakin, Leia, Luke, Yoda, then Grogu, then Plo Koon, or then Mace, Plo Koon, Ki-Adi-Mundi.
What about Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan, maybe. I don't know. I don't think he has that high of a midichlorian count. I don't know if that's ever been said, but just the vibes he gives off.
Yeah, he's such a beta midichlorian count. No, but I think you're right. I think it's a good list. It's just hard because like when you look at this list, I've only seen things on like Reddit, that they listed. And it's like
I'll do a quick search.
It's all speculation, and it's like, oh, Anakin, but then when he becomes Darth Vader, and like cuts it off, and like that's all. Right. So it's like it's just such a hard thing that George threw into the universe that now we have to freaking think about.
Right. Jeez, why did we bring those freaking midichlorians? Yeah. So Anakin Skywalker's count is 27,000 midichlorians per cell, which is just so crazy.
It sounds like a lot.
Which is a lot.
I would imagine.
Which is a lot. Yeah. But anyway. Oh, look. Fan-made Reddit midichlorian count list.
That's the one I always say.
I totally wasn't even thinking of dark side users. So
that's true.
We've got this guy, Mr. I don't know how to work your Reddit. I don't know where his name is.
No idea.
Anakin Skywalker, Darth Sidious, Yoda, Luke, Leia. Okay, so this puts Luke at 25,000 and then Leia at 25,000. Luke was at 24,500 after the loss of his hand. So that means my listing's right. Leia's above Luke. Don't fight me on that. And then it's a bunch of legends.
Yeah.
Jason Solo, Jaina Solo, Anakin Solo, Mara Jade, Ben Skywalker, Galen Merritt. These are all freaking. That sucks. This guy is a big Legends fan.
Yeah. Well, that's because when I saw the list, I'm like, this is like deep cuts that I don't even know who these people are.
He's got a list up to. Oh my word! This guy's got to 130.
Yeah, it's crazy. Check it out. This guy goes deep.
Let's see if I can find his name to shout him out. I'm sorry, I really don't know how to use freaking.
He's
deleted. His user's deleted. So
he probably did something naughty. If you're that deep in the canon, I mean Legends, he probably did something weird. Did he have Grogu on there? From what you could tell,
no, it didn't look like it.
I think because that list is old. Yeah. Anyways, but yes. As for my list, I mean my notes. That's what I had. But what do you got? Anything else for you?
Let's see. It was just funny that like every time they went to Bo-Katan, she's just sitting on her throne, like just looking at the ground.
It's like
what are you doing all day?
Get a TV, dude.
And that was get a TV, get a HoloNet. That was the thing is, like they showed how close Calavera and Concordia are to Mandalore, and my question was like, why didn't she just go over there? Like she's been saying it's cursed, not cursed, or whatever. Why didn't she go check Mandalore out for herself?
Because she's stupid.
Just weird. Maybe she didn't have any like reason to, because Kalevala is a lot nicer. But anyway,
that's true.
I was like, why are you sitting there all day?
If you know it's desolate, I think it'd be like, I'm like, do I want to go explore today?
Right.
I mean, she should because she's on her freaking throne doing nothing.
Yeah, doing nothing. No, but it'll be interesting to see if like Dim, because it seems like he doesn't want the Darksaber. He doesn't want to like accept the mantle of the leader of Mandalore. So I wonder if she'll be able to
take it
on, which I think I'd rather see her do that rather than like
girl power, man.
Yeah.
No, but I think especially just for the lore of Star Wars, because she had it kind of redemption to take it back.
Because Din was introduced to us as like kind of like the Western gunslinger, and I want him to stay that way.
Yes.
I don't want it to get like out of hand. I think Grogu can be the Jedi. We don't need a Jedi combined with the leader of Mandalore,
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a weird direction to take it.
Yeah.
So,
A couple more notes. Last week we talked about why he's still a part of the Creed.
Yeah.
We were like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
but he made a good point. He said, without the Creed, what are we? And that's like, yeah, if it's fundamental to who you are, and like there's no reason to go on without it, like it makes sense why you would stick in it, even if you thought it was culty now. And then last thing here, the Mythosaur, crazy.
That's the beast I got him at the very end.
Yeah, that's the beast at the very end. So, do you know like the connection?
That's I don't have my shirt on, but that's their symbol, right?
Yeah. So their symbol is the Mythosaur skull, and that was like what signified a leader of Mandalore was one who could like tame that, and then eventually all the Mandalorians could ride Mythosaurs. I think, I don't know, but I thought it was interesting that Bo didn't believe in the Mythosaur. Like she didn't even think it was real, and it was just really cool when it showed up. So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so I didn't realize it was like an underwater beast.
Yeah,
I thought it was a land creature.
I thought so too. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see in the next episode to see it like full fledged.
Yeah,
huge thing. Hopefully, like Din rides it or something.
Yeah, I think I'm getting Alzheimer's because I just watched this episode yesterday. It ended right when he got out of the water, right? That's when it stopped, right when they got on land. Did there was nothing else?
There, she's pulling him up, flashlight like shines on the Mythosaur, and then she gets him up on the land, and then it ends.
Okay. So yeah, it's gonna pick up right there. So that'll be What do you think it goes to a flashback and into that, or do you think it goes straight in?
I hope we go straight into it, dude. I hate Star Wars just doesn't have a great thing with flashbacks, except Andor, my precious beloved Andor. They do it right, but
yeah, I think they will. I think they'll just jump straight in. Third episode, that'd be a good way to.
Well, I also saw when I was looking up news, it said that the third episode might be the longest runtime yet.
Of all of them?
Out of all of them, it sounded like. I didn't read the whole article, but so that would be really cool if it's like an hour long.
Yeah, because they've been kind of skimming us.
Yeah, because I think the last episode was 38 minutes, and then this one yesterday was 45 minutes. Yeah, which is still pretty okay.
I mean, yeah, it's good.
I feel like the first season was like 50-minute episodes.
Yes,
right?
I think the first season was definitely a lot longer.
So
like it was. Maybe
it'd be cool if this was like an hour episode.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah. Anything else you got?
No, I think that's all good. To our fans, to our dedicated fans, we usually go for about an hour. I feel so sick, so we're not going to do our third segment of spinning the wheel. But we will get back to that. Okay.
Yeah, we gave you 41 minutes of pure Star Wars.
Yeah,
so how about you chill out? We need the wheel to have a break. We need Austin to get some rest. He's doing 2 podcasts right now. Okay, he's got a lot on his plate.
Let's shout out our other one, huh?
Yeah, film fixation. Give it a listen if you love movies. We just reviewed Creed 3. It's really awesome. Our good buddy Jaron is the host. And so give it a listen. We were going to bring him on today, but didn't work out. I think we're going to try to get him on here within a week.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But
that releases on Fridays as well. So if you get us and you just want more of us on a Friday, dude, listen to Film Fixation Podcast.
You won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
But thank you for being... Oh, let's try it out in person.
Okay.
We're going to say thank you for being a disciple of the Force.
Okay.
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Thank you for being a disciple of the Force. I think it's the first time we got this great.